I could pull a better game out of my ass. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 298. And we're going to mix a little sour in with the sweet, because the last 3 episodes of this show have been fantastic games. Mediocre podcasts, but fantastic games. We had The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Beautiful Joe, and X-Men 2 The Clone Wars. Great. I highly recommend checking out those episodes and those games if you have not. But too much sweet isn't good for anyone. So this week we're going to go as sour as the gumball that's so sour it can only be safely contained in a magnetic field. And we're talking Bart versus the World on the NES. I know it's on other consoles and stuff as well, but I'm assuming it's not any better on any of those. Like, listen, as many of you know, I am a ride or die fan of Bart versus the Space Mutants, which we covered back on Remember the Game 167, FYI. And I know objectively it's not a good game. It's just one of those titles I grew up with, and I played the hell out of it, and even though I know it sucks, nostalgia is a hell of a drug, you know? Bart versus the World is the same game engine. They made it in less than a year after they made Bart versus the Space Mutants. I used to rent Bart versus the World all the time when I was a kid. I knew it wasn't great, but I remember thinking, it's The Simpsons, that's good enough. Hoy vey, my friends. I have been replaying this one on stream to get ready for this episode, and my God, this game sucks. I've always said Virtual Bart is one of the worst games we've ever reviewed here on Remember the Game. This is substantially worse. Half the game is horrible design, shitty minigames and puzzles, and when you do actually get to platform, it's the same broken control system as the Space Mutants, but with way shittier, shorter, and boringer levels. Ugh. The gentleman of Remember the Game Industries and my go-to NES guest, my pal David Rae, returns to the show this week. And while we normally cover great games like Super Mario Brothers, this week we took a turn down a very dark alley and we covered Bart versus the World, which is precious time that we will never, ever get back. And we'll get there in just a minute, because speaking of precious time you'll never, ever get back, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. Dun, 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 dun! And if you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard. Consider this your warning. Our intros are kind of long, but they're fun. They're way more fun than Bart versus the World is, for real. If you do want to skip them, go to about the 30-minute mark. I always try to time it to be right around 30 minutes, and you'll get into game chat. But I recommend hanging around. We're going to talk video games and stuff. It's good times. Quick reminder, I got to get my plugs in. That's how I keep the bills on. Quick reminder, I will be at GameCon Canada here in Edmonton, June 14th to 16th. Really looking forward to that. And 3 tickets to our show in Toronto on June 28th. Mark McHugh and I will be telling jokes at the, I can't remember the name of the theater now. Anyway, it's all on the website. RememberTheGamePodcast.com. We have 3 tickets that just opened up. If you were hoping to swing by, all the tickets come with a meet and greet. Come and see Mark and I laugh at our dumb jokes, whatever the fuck. We have all kinds of merchandise. You can find it all at RememberTheGamePodcast.com. It was all designed by my man Joe from 4545 Creative. It is awesomely outrageous. And of course, if you don't like clothes, maybe consider tossing us a couple bucks on Patreon. It's about the best deal in the history of the universe, because they start at $3 a month and you're going to get yourself up to 4 additional podcasts every week, all ad-free as well. Every Monday, Mark and I are working through the entire Simpsons catalog with Purple Monkey Dishwasher. Every Tuesday, I drop The Rambling Idiot, where I talk comedy, wrestling, sports, TV, movies, whatever I feel like talking about. Every Friday, we drop Game Patch, which is my modern gaming news show, where I look at the biggest news in the world of video games, give sales picks, all that good stuff. June's going to be a great month, too, because there's lots of game showcases and things, so Game Patch is going to be hopping in June. And then Expansion Pass goes live every Thursday, and that's a different gaming show each week. We look back at characters, consoles, genres. We do ranking episodes. We do modern game reviews. There's some comedy episodes. This past week, it was Expansion Pass 213. And on the heels of Beautiful Joe, I decided to count down the 10 toughest games I've ever played in a good old-fashioned ranking episode. A lot of great feedback on this one. A lot of people remembering how aggravating some of these games can be. It was a lot of fun. And as is becoming tradition, here is a sneak peek of last week's episode of Expansion Pass, my 10 toughest games. I have 8 honorable mentions that I wanted to throw in. Again, keeping in mind that I'm not counting roguelikes and roadlights. So some of my honorable mentions that didn't make the top 10 are, in fact, The Lion King. Also, the aforementioned Beautiful Joe. Fuck, that game ruins me. Super Star Wars. Although, in a few weeks of playing Super Star Wars, I'm getting pretty close to beating it. I'm pretty confident I can beat that one. So I didn't sneak it into the top 10, but that game fucks you up. Cuphead which a few of you wrote in about. Cuphead was an honorable mention for me. It hurt to not make it to the top 10 because Cuphead is fucking vicious. Hollow Knight was one that I was pretty close to putting in my top 10. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. The only reason Zombies Ate My Neighbors didn't make the top 10 was because I haven't played it a ton. I played it quite a bit during that weekend, or during the week leading up to the episode we recorded about it. I really like it. I still play it on occasion. I want to get a physical copy, and it is hard as fuck, but I just don't know if I know it well enough to put it into my top 10. So all those games didn't make the list. So that's probably got you sitting in your car or at work or whatever the fuck asking, well, God damn it, Adam, what did make your list? It's time to get into it. I'm going to do a classic ranking episode. I'm going to play the music. We're going to count them down. Let's start at the start with number 10, the 10th hardest game that I have ever, toughest. I'm going to call them tough. The 10th toughest game that I have ever played. That's now available in our archives, and this week it's Expansion Pass 214, and the topic was up to the Patreons, and the retro game collections we want to see happen is our focus. I love all those retro game compilations you can get these days because it's kind of preserving past gaming, and it's nice to have so many classic titles on your systems or handhelds or what have you, and there's still so many great games and great franchises lost to time. So let's see if we can't will a couple of retro game compilations into existence this week as we talk about the ones we'd like to see released. So good shit. Again, subscriptions start at $3 a month. You get new podcasts every week. You get instant access to hundreds upon hundreds of ad-free archive bonus podcasts waiting for you on your phone. Plus, you get to join our Discord. You get a chance to vote in our Patreon poll every month. You get the ability to submit comments to the shows. You get DM with me. You get discounts on your merch. You even get a shout out and get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm about to do to most of these people. A huge thank you to our newest Patriots: Taylor Childs, Brandon Thompson, probably formerly Brandon Simpson, Slime Time, Eric Martinez, Robert Underdunk Terwilliger Jr., PhD, I like it, Jack Straw, Rick Voisin, David Reyes Martinez, and Big Mexican Kahuna. I actually might have pronounced all those right. I'm sure I fucked at least one up, but I feel like I got close. That's pretty good shit. Thank you all so much for the support, and welcome to Remember the Game Industries. You can find our Patreon at patreon.com/rememberthegame. Don't forget, we donate 5% of that to the Stollery Children's Hospital every year as part of my 24-hour stream, and we offer annual subs that'll save you your 12th month's fees. And finally, do not forget, I stream mostly old retro games, and I usually just end up getting mad. Twitch.tv/rememberthegame. Follow me. It's free. It'll tell you when I'm online, and you can come and see my stupid face. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons, usually gaming related, but not always, and we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Our first blower this week is Austin Wright, who said, Adam, if you could have one Pokemon to help improve your job or your life, which Pokemon would you choose? Now, my initial thought was Magikarp, because then I would feel better about myself, and because Magikarp is my favorite Pokemon. But then I thought, you know what? Eventually that thing is going to turn into a giant fire-breathing weird-ass dragon, and I don't really need to do that. Charmander turns into an asshole. Bulbasaur is my favorite grass Pokemon. It's my favorite starter, but I'm sure I'm allergic to Bulbasaur, so I can't have that. Squirtle would be neat, but I'm worried that Molly would be terrified of Squirtle. So I'm actually going to get a Ditto, and I'm going to have it turn into a second copy of my dog, Molly. And then I have two Mollys, and two is better than one, except for all the poop, I guess. I would have it turn into a Molly that doesn't poop. That's perfect. That's what I would do. Chardy Machdeni said, hey Adam, I think it's Chardy Macdennis said, hey Adam, I've recently been getting into tactical games after playing Midnight Suns, and I must ask, have you played Gears Tactics? It's a shockingly good tactical game. P.S. It's pronounced Dennis, not Denis. Well, you're welcome, Dennis. I'm gonna go Dennis. Chardy Macdennis. Yes, I have played Gears Tactics. It's fucking awesome. I get asked almost every week. There's at least one blowing in the cartridge asking if I've played a game, and I don't read very many of them because this whole segment could just be, Adam, have you ever played? But I read this one because I was ready to message you and be like, hey, there's a review of it in our Expansion Pass archives. And then I looked, and I actually haven't reviewed Gears Tactics, which is fucking blasphemy. Yes, I have played Gears Tactics. If you like Gears of War and tactical games, Gears Tactics is must play. It's basically Gears XCOM. The only gripe I have with Gears Tactics is by the end of the game, some of the boards, levels, maps, whatever you want to call them, start to get a little bit repetitive. But other than that, it was a surprisingly good like you said, shockingly good tactical game, and they really managed to capture the Gears combat really well. So if you're a Gears and Tactics fan, play Gears Tactics. If you're a fan of just good video games, play Midnight Suns and Gears Tactics. Midnight Suns is better, but Gears Tactics is good too. Cowabungai said, how do you say the game rock, paper, scissors? Or how do you say this game? Is it rock, paper, scissors, rock, or scissors, rock, paper? I always said paper, scissors, rock, but on the podcast Bad Movies Rule, they stated the way I always said was the psycho way. But then again, I say pop and not soda. Cheers from Ohio, and yes, I bought AEW Fight Forever for $10, and I still feel ripped off. Well, FYI, a spoiler for Game Patch this week. AEW Fight Forever is one of the free PS Plus games this month. And I still think that's maybe a little expensive for that. I like AEW, but that game was not. Oof. That game there is a review of in the expansion pass archives, and whew, PU. That game sucks. I say rock, paper, scissors, and I think anyone that says it any other way is a little bit weird. It's rock, paper, I know you have technically 3 choices, but it's rock, paper, scissors. Good old rock, nothing beats that. That's how it's pronounced. Also, I also say pop and not soda because in Canada we call it pop and not soda, although I wish we called it soda because soda sounds cooler than pop. But it's rock, paper, scissors. Come on, Cowabungai, be better. Breakfast with Roxy said, hey, dude, how do you heal your tattoos? Do you use second skin / Saniderm? That must be another name for it. It's this wrap that stays on for the duration of the healing process that lets oxygen in and keeps bacteria out. I've used it a few times, and after healing most of my previous tattoos the old-fashioned way, I can say the difference is night and day. I have no scabs or peeling at all. Cheers. Yes, I have 2 tattoos I got done by other artists, and they did not use second skin. And they're fine. Actually, my Blink-182 tattoo healed like shit. My other one didn't heal bad. But my Ninja Turtle sleeve that's almost done now, finally, has all been second skin. And yeah, it's like this really tight plastic that goes over your fresh tattoo. And you're supposed to leave it on for 3 to 5 days. I always try to go 5 days. And then when you peel it off, your arm smells fucking rank, or wherever you got your tattoo smells rank until you wash it. But the healing process is fucking unbelievable. Yes, so I do use second skin now. I mean, I'm going to use whatever my tattoo artist tells me to use, but the tattoo guy that's been doing my sleeve uses second skin, and I endorse this service or product. Second skin is the shit. Also, get more tattoos. I have a tattoo appointment on Tuesday, a week from right now. Holy shit. And we're so close to finishing the sleeve. And then I think I'm really leaning toward putting a Mega Man on my other arm, like a big, detailed, gritty-looking Mega Man, but I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning toward doing it. Daniel Cook said, hey, matey, for the unfortunate folk who don't get their comments read out during an episode, should we copy and paste the same question the following week or ask a better one next time? Not angry, just curious. Love your work. You can copy and paste if you want to. I do try to get as many on as I can. But yeah, otherwise fucking ask a better question. No, copy and paste if you want. That doesn't offend me. I see lots of people that copy and paste. I'm a copy and paster myself. I come from a long line of copy and pasters. My father was a copier. My mother was a mutter. His mother was a mutter? What did I just say? Shout out to him when he gets that non-Simpsons reference. Made no sense, but I love Seinfeld. Lord Finish said, I see you're a proud owner of a brand new Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, as we know it in the great city of Europe. My question is, what name do you think is actually better? I might be a bit biased, but I prefer Mega Drive. It just sounds cooler. I mean, Genesis, what is that? Some lame biblical reference? I can't speak to the biblical, as I've never been a biblical guy, but Genesis is such a better name. I'm sorry, Sega Mega Drive, A, it rhymes, which sounds dumb, and B, it just sounds like you're trying too hard with the Mega Drive, whereas like Genesis, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds neat and hip, which is what Sega was going for. It would have been cooler if they had called it the Sega, I guess trying to combine the words, the Segenesis, Say Genesis? No. I like Genesis better, but I also like the North American Super Nintendo better than the weird European one with the Skittles buttons. So maybe I'm just stuck in my ways. But you can put me dead in the ground before I refer to it as a Mega Drive. Even if it didn't rhyme. Like if it was the Sega like Ultra Drive, I would have been like, all right, that sounds pretty cool. But the rhyming just makes it sound so lame. Genesis. Sega does what Nintendo don't. Genesis. And finally, before we move on, it's letter time. Ran Hakubi said, since you're reviewing a Simpsons game for this episode, I've got a Simpsons-themed Play One, Remake One, Erase One for you. Bone Storm, Waterworld, and My Dinner with Andre. I have to say I'm a little shocked that you didn't put Lee Carvello's putting challenge on here. What the fuck? What was Waterworld? How am I drawing a blank on that? I know that some of you diehard Simpsons fans listening to this could be yelling at me. But what the fuck was Waterworld? I don't know why. For some reason, that's just sticking out to me now that I know what that is. Oh, Waterworld. That's the one. I forgot that was the name. Yeah, I knew the game. That's the one where Milhouse like puts in all the quarters and then takes one step on the docks. And then it says game over. And then he starts putting more quarters in. Okay. Okay. Play one, remake one, erase one. I'm playing My Dinner with Andre because I have nary laughed that hard in my life as I did on Purple Monkey Dish. My Dinner with Andre is this crappy conversation game that Martin was playing. Tell me more. And the joystick is how you'd have your conversation. I have to play that game. I'm going to remake Waterworld and just make a home port. I still want to play the game where I take one step and then it game overs, but I'm gonna make a home port so I don't have to go to the arcade and put all the quarters in. And I'm going to erase Bone Storm because, while it is the coolest game of the three, I don't know. Yeah, it just seems a little scary for me. Not for me. Thrill ho. I would rather have Lee Carvello's putting challenge. Good question, though. Thanks, everybody that wrote in this week. As always, we need to keep this ball on the tracks or whatever the fuck the saying is. So let's switch things up and get to our Smash Hit segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industries. Play one, remake one, erase one. And as always, a huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for the show. The rules are simple. Every week I give our Patreons 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, they can remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. And as always, there is no wrong answer, but there is a right one. We'll get there in a second. This week, since we're talking Bart versus the World, I went with 3 more Simpsons NES games. We have Bart versus the Space Mutants, Bartman meets Radioactive Man, and Krusty's Funhouse. I was actually very torn on this one. 27% of you said play Krusty's Funhouse, remake Bart versus the Space Mutants, and erase Bartman meets Radioactive Man. So let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I'll tell you what the right answer was. John Truckosaurus said, this is fun because I love The Simpsons, but only one of the 3 I've played is Bart versus the Space Mutants, and it's dog shit. Sorry, Adam. It's true. I'd play Radioactive Man because I never have, and I'd like to give it a shot, fully expecting it to suck. I'd remake Krusty's Funhouse because I feel like they can make a hilarious game with this character. They can throw in Itchy and Scratchy too. If they made a comedy-style South Park RPG game starring Krusty, I'd be all over it. And then erase Space Mutants. It's just too broken for me to even enjoy it for any length of time. Krusty's Funhouse is actually, it's a puzzle game. It's actually a fucking really good game. But your logic is sound. I can get on board with that, Truckosaurus. I would love another, like a more adult Krusty-based game as well. Ravishing Rick. Dude, imagine like a Leisure Suit Larry game, but with like Krusty. Oh, fuck me. That'd be sick. Ravishing Rick said, I've played and beat Bart vs. the Space Mutants and will continue to play it for the satisfaction of knowing I can beat this hard game. I'll remake Krusty's Funhouse because I saw what it was and hey, kids, there needs to be a better version of that. And lastly, I'd get rid of Radioactive Man because I preferred McBain, Jiminy Jillikers. You know what? You got red just for comparing McBain and Radioactive Man, both ironically played by the same actor. I would love to see McBain fight Radioactive Man. That'd be fucking sick. S2S said, I would love to see a remake of Bart vs. the Space Mutants. I could finish it then. Let's see if I can finish it now. I'll replay Krusty's Funhouse because I know nothing about it, but I'd give it a try. I guess that leaves Radioactive Man to be erased because them's the rules. Never played it either, but I'm not too worried about the fallout. You're on double secret probation. No puns. S2S, you know better than that. Get the fuck out of here. You fucking know better. You've been around a long time. You know better. Robert Underdunk Terwilliger Jr., PhD, said, I'm so excited for my first play one, remake one, erase one. I'm playing Radioactive Man because I never have, and growing up I thought it looked awesome. I'm remaking Krusty. It's an underrated Lemmings clone, super addictive. And I'm deleting Bart versus the Space Mutants because it's too fucking hard. Listen, the logic makes sense, and I agree that Krusty's game is an underrated Lemmings clone, but I'm a little disappointed that someone with the username Robert Underdunk Terwilliger Jr. didn't erase Krusty just because that's what the actual Robert Terwilliger tried to do. So a little bit disappointed in you, but good answer. And Cheese Zombie Gaming said, I'll play Krusty's Funhouse because I remember playing it on Game Boy and it was fun as hell. It doesn't need to change. I would remake Bart versus the Space Mutants and give it a little upgrade, make the graphics look like the cartoon and tighten up the controls, and then I'll erase Radioactive Man simply because I've never played it. So many people throwing shade at Radioactive Man. I'm shocked. I'm actually going with the runner-up with 25% was only 2% behind the winner. So it was very close. I'm going with 25% of you as the runner-ups, as did Adam 40 Ounce, who said, never played any, but this is my first poll, so I'll play Radioactive Man for the superheroes. I'll remake Space Mutants to play an updated Simpsons game for the first time, and I'll delete Krusty's Funhouse because rules. Well, thank you for following the rules, Adam. I'm going to also play Bartman Meets Radioactive Man because I remember renting it once, and I don't remember anything about it. There was something like you could pick up those like biohazard symbols or something, but that's all I remember from it. I want to play it, so I'm gonna play that one. I was really torn on the remake because Krusty's Funhouse is the better game, but I'm more nostalgic for Bart versus the Space Mutants. I'm gonna remake Bart versus the Space Mutants because if you added voice acting and Kahang and Kodos and stuff, that game could be awesome. And then I'm so heartbroken to erase Krusty's Funhouse because it's genuinely the best Simpsons game on the NES. It's a good puzzle game, but the problem is it's one and done once you know what to do, and that's the issue with puzzle games. So I'm so sorry, Krusty. I love you, but I gotta erase you. Thank you, everybody that wrote in to play along as always. I appreciate you. What have I been playing over the last 7 days? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I swore last week I was going to finish it. I actually finished it this morning. Tuesday morning, the final boss fight goes on for about 3 fucking days. Fuck me. I have a lot to say about this one. So next week's expansion pass will be my full-blown Final Fantasy VII Rebirth review/spoiler cast, in case anyone is interested in that. I'm finally done with it. I'm ready to move on. I want to play South Park Snow Day. I want to play the new Prince of Persia. I want to play Princess Peach Showtime. And I kind of want to play Stellar Blade. All games that have released this year that I'm interested in. So I'm moving on to one of those. Oh, no, and I want to go back to Cyberpunk 2077 and finish that. Fuck me. Plus, I got to play Mass Effect 3. Plus, there's just too many games. But anyway, those are some of the ones that are on my radar to go to next. I've also been playing Bart vs. the World against my better judgment. And I've gone back to Battletoads and Battle Maniacs on the Super Nintendo. That's what I've been streaming lately. One of my favorite Super Nintendo games. And I want to beat that game so fucking bad. And I will. I will do it eventually. Much like Homer will someday watch Fiddler on the Roof, I will someday beat Battletoads and Battle Maniacs. Anyway, that's what I've been playing. Here's what we're going to do. I need a drink of water. So let's pause here. We'll let a sponsor in to peddle their wares. And when we get back, it's all Bart versus the World talk, for better or worse. We'll be right back after this. We've had some great partners over the years here at Remember the Game, but I don't know if any of them have hit home for me quite like Hometown Hero does. No pun intended. Don't start. It's a transparent, honest cannabis company that helps people and gives back to those that have served their country at the same time. I mean, come on. As soon as I read about these guys, I knew I wanted to work with them. Hometown Hero is a cannabis company out of Austin, Texas, and they were founded back in 2015 by a U.S. veteran. They have 2 goals: create premium hemp products that can help everyone, and to support veterans by donating a portion of those profits to organizations set up to take care of those who have served. Hometown Hero products are of the highest quality, and everything they offer is made right there in the U.S. of A. Gummies, caramels, chocolates, drink mix. There's something for everyone. And what's more, their hemp is grown locally in Texas, which is something they should and do take a lot of pride in. And they offer certificates of analysis for everything they sell because they want to be clear that their products are as advertised, both in terms of potency and ingredients. No contaminants, you get what you pay for. Just how they conduct business is enough to get my good eyes' attention. But when you circle back to the fact that the company was founded by a veteran and they put such heavy emphasis on supporting veterans, this isn't just lip service. I'm not reading a script I was given here. I'm proud to have Hometown Hero associated with Remember the Game. Reclaim your evening. Visit hometownhero.com and use code RTG to take 20% off your first purchase. That's hometownhero.com, code RTG for 20% off your first purchase. This is an ad by BetterHelp. A band once said, "Work sucks, I know." And I think most people agree with them. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress from their jobs. And while walking away from your job might not be an option, taking a little time every day to focus on yourself and your mental health can make a huge difference. I know in the summer I try to get outside every day, get a little bit of sun, and just enjoy the outdoors. It really helps. At least until my allergies attack, and then it's ugly. It's important to take steps to combat work stress, and therapy can be a huge one. It's not just for overcoming trauma. Therapy can help you define work goals, set some work boundaries, develop coping skills. It's like a cheat code for life. And if you're thinking, man, I'm too busy for therapy, well, Look into BetterHelp. They make therapy as convenient as possible. You can meet with one of their over 30,000 therapists online and on your schedule, just like over 5 million people around the world already have done. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/rememberthegame. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. All right, let's get into Bart versus the world. As always, I like to let you nerds sound off on the game we're covering before my guest and I hog the microphone, and we had some comments this week, let me tell you. Here's a few of them. Yankee Doodle Randy said, if I somehow make it past the iceberg part, I'd never have enough lives to make it much further. I think these old Simpsons games would suck less if they just gave you continues. I mean, you're right, but the problem is that you can beat this game in 20 minutes. So I think the continues stop you from just, that way you keep playing it or keep renting it or whatever the fuck. But you are right. It's just fucking that ice level fucking sucks so hard. Fuck that whole game. The whole game just fucking, we're going to get there. The whole game fucking sucks. Dan of Dissect That Film said, my brother and I rented this game back in the way day. We managed to get to the Great Wall level. That was the best we could muster. I still did better this game than Bart versus the Space Mutants though. That fair? Yeah. I mean, well, to be fair, all you had to do to get to the Great Wall was get the map on the boat. But then beating the Great Wall, we'll get there. God, this fucking game. Jimothy says, was a fun platformer, but the Simpsons trivia made this one of my favorites on the NES. I actually feel the trivia is the strongest part of the game, which is sad, because as you're going to hear, it looks like it was designed in Microsoft Paint, but it is the best part of the game. Molly Kuehl said, as a kid, this was the Simpsons game. It had such a variety of levels. The mini games were fun, and there was just something about it. I think my friend had it, and I had I think my friend had it, but I had a back of acquiring. A back of acquiring. I'm assuming that was supposed to say habit. I had a habit of acquiring my friends' old NES and Genesis games that they weren't playing back in the day, which was borrow. They never asked for them back, so I actually might have it sitting in my collection. I read your comment, Molly Kuehl, just so that hopefully somebody from the FBI that's listening comes and breaks your door down for borrowing games from your friends and not giving them back. Because I had a friend that borrowed my copy of Earthworm Jim 2 when I was a kid, and I never got it back. And even though that game's not particularly great, to this day, my ass has a little bit of chappiness to it. So you have chapped my ass, Molly Kuehl. And Colin Toba said, I like how one of Mr. Burns' ancestors is a literal Yeti. There's a story there. I actually think the stupid plot to this game is the highlight of the game. The stupid ancestors of Mr. Burns. And it's time for us to talk about them. David and I, okay, so I'm going to cue up some music, but I'm going to warn you all right now. We talk about it. There's this annoying loop that's 5 seconds long that plays when you're doing the annoying slider puzzle game in this. And that's the song I'm going to play. So when you hear this song, it's probably going to go for about 20 seconds. If you're like, holy fuck, that was annoying and obnoxious. That's what you have to listen to while you're trying to do this stupid slider puzzle that might take you a good 5 to 10 minutes if you're not good at them. And so if I had to listen to it, you all have to listen to it. So here comes the music. And when it stops, David and I are talking The Simpsons Bart versus the World, which originally released on the NES in North America in December of 1991. And the world has never been the same. Enjoy the podcast, everybody. Let's go. All right.
That's the energy you want to come into this show
that's how I'm
with.
Feeling. That's how I'm feeling. Joining me via the blank phone this week to talk Bart versus the World. It's the Gentleman, and we're gonna push that title to the limit today and see if we can break the Gentleman thing. The Gentleman of Remember the Game Industry is my pal David Rae. David, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. Look, I think we need to start this thing off by reflecting on how you think about childhood and these things from childhood, where it's oh, that's actually kind of messed up in hindsight. That was actually kind of bad. That thing happened. And that's what I've come to realize with this game in particular. I always thought that this was a good Simpsons game. Notoriously, the Simpsons games are broadly terrible, with the exception of the arcade game.
Yeah.
But I always thought back on this game as it was good because I beat it. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like I beat
Yeah.
that game, and it was kind of challenging, but I beat it, so it's a good game. Meanwhile, I hated versus the Space Mutants.
See, and it's funny because like I was literally just streaming this game an hour ago to
Yeah,
get ready for this episode, and I was getting
yeah,
so fucking it's so fucking bad. But the thing is like everyone that listens to the show with any regularity knows that I have a soft spot for Bart versus the Space Mutants. I grew up with that
yeah.
game. I could beat it fair and square. Like it's
Sure.
like I look, I understand it's not perfect, but I'm like it's fine.
Yeah,
It sucks, but I love it. And I used to read Bart versus the World all the time when I was a kid because of my love of Bart versus the Space Mutants, which I owned. And
sure.
I felt the same way. I was like, I don't remember like it being the greatest game ever, but I don't remember it being like terrible. And now refiring it up for the last week or two to play it for this show, not to say Bart versus the Space Mutants is objectively a good game because it's not. But I
Mm.
don't care what anyone says. Bart versus the Space Mutants is at least it's a game. It's like 5 platforming levels. You and I were just talking about this off air. Bart versus the World feels like they just took the leftovers of Bart versus the Space Mutants, microwaved them for like 30 seconds, and put them on a cartridge.
It
Like it's bad.
it is like 8 half levels that are kind of like half done. Like
Yeah,
they have a skateboarding level, right? Like of course you want to have a skateboarding level. You have Bart Simpson. That's the whole thing,
sure.
and it is garbage. It is so bad. It's
It's terrible.
you're going down like the wall of China or whatever, and
It's
it's just
terrible.
like it has no sense of like the angle, camera angle they gave you makes it
Yeah.
like it's hard to tell where you're supposed to go. It's not a great
And,
lineup, but yeah,
and what's messed up is that skateboarding level on the Great Wall of China is actually one of the better levels.
it is. Yeah,
And it sucks, and that's one of the better levels. Listen, we were trying to figure out how many good Simpsons games there are when we were streaming today. I was like, Simpsons Hit and Run, I think most people consider to be the best Simpsons game.
yeah,
The GTA clone, it's a good game.
yeah.
The arcade game, I'll hear an argument for it, and I'm not including mobile games. So the arcade game is fun. The Hit and Run is
Mhm.
good. I did you ever play Simpsons Road Rage, like the Crazy Taxi
That
clone?
Yes, that's the one I played. I did not
I
play the GTA one. I played the Crazy Taxi one.
Okay, I like that game. It's not
Yeah,
perfect, but I like that game. It's fun.
it's a good rental game. This is what I've come to realize. A lot of Simpsons games fall into that realm of like, yeah, this is an okay rental. I'm glad I rented this and didn't pay the full
Sure.
$70. And I think even when you were saying like when you rented Bart versus the World as a kid, you liked it then because it
Yeah.
was $5 or whatever it was for the
Exactly.
weekend.
It was
and
my
you can,
weekend.
and you can
Yeah.
wrap that game in a weekend easily. Like you can, learn
Oh
it
yeah.
and overcome it
Dude,
in the
I
weekend for sure.
I've played it for 2 hours in the last week to get ready for this, and I'm like 3/4 of the way through the game in 2
Yeah.
hours. Like it's just the problem is just like it has, and this is my opinion, but it has all the warts that Bart versus the Space Mutants have, primarily the god awful controls. But then in addition to having all those, like at least in Bart versus the Space Mutants, it's like, well, every level you need to collect a certain objective to stop the aliens, and
Yeah.
there's lots of enemies and lots of platforming, not good platforming, but platforming nonetheless. Whereas
Yeah.
in this one, like, okay, the concept of this game is stupid but genuinely entertaining. Mr. Burns is using Krusty the Clown to kill Bart Simpson.
Yeah, it is unhinged from the
What is
get-go. The opening scene is, yeah, this old man wants to kill the Simpsons for some reason. Unclear why, but he wants to. And like doing this weird thing of getting like the clown show to be a part of it. Like, oh, we're going to rig it so that Bart Simpsons wins this art contest.
Yeah.
And so he gets to go on this world trotting kind of adventure. It's just like, man, you could have just shot him. Why
Right?
are we bothering with all these extra steps if you're wanting to kill the Simpsons?
Maybe the assassin that he hired to kill Grandpa
Yeah.
like that soured him on assassins, and so
Yeah.
because they're right. Like now he's made Krusty an accomplice because he's
Mhm.
had Krusty rig this contest so Bart wins a trip around the world so that Mr. Burns' relatives can kill the Simpson family. And
Yeah.
and when you say it like that, it's like that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But like, and it is, but and I say this without an ounce of sarcasm, that might be the strongest point of this game, is that the story is moderately entertaining. Like that they keep cutting back to Mr. Burns being like, curses, this member of my family couldn't kill them, so let's send him here and have this member of my family do it.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
That's the highlight of the game, are those stupid cutscenes with Mr. Burns and Smithers.
Yeah, the same joke 4 times.
4 times. 4
Yeah.
times. It's, oh my God.
Well, this is what bothered me about like the idea that this is Bart versus the world. So it's supposed to be like a little bit of globe trotting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like you chose 4 areas that make no sense. Like China, okay, cool. I get China. You're going to see some of the famous places in China. Okay, great. Second, the North Pole. Like just immediately, like, okay, we're already going to Ice World, which always sucks in a video game. Why is Ice World the second world in a platforming game? Anyways,
yeah.
And then what?
Then it's the pyramids. It's Egypt.
Egypt, sure. Egypt makes sense. And then Hollywood? And then the Hollywood levels are just, it's a fever dream. At one point, you're like running across the animator's table or whatever, and you're dodging ink and everything. It's like, did Bart take drugs and like in Hollywood? Like, what is happening? It's no longer in the concept of the game anymore.
Somebody that designed this game was on drugs. There's no doubt about that. Somebody. Because I never thought about that, but you're right. Like the first level, so basically that's the whole premise of the game is Bart wins this trip around the world, and then he's going from place to place, and everywhere he goes, Mr. Burns has some weird ass fucking relative that he's gonna hire to kill the Simpsons family. And the China one, like, I will say, I genuinely think like it looks like crap, it plays like crap, it's crap, but like the skateboarding down the Great Wall of China is kind of like, that's like, on paper, that's a cool level.
That hits flawed. The idea of what this game is supposed to be, right? You're traveling the world.
But then the second level, they send you to the North Pole, and then you're just out there in your t-shirt and shorts, jumping through this green frozen, I don't know why the frozen cave is green. And then you're just riding a broken piece of ice, and you see a power plant in the distance that's frozen in the and it's like, and then there's frozen Blinky too, and it's just chasing, and I'm like, and that's the whole level, and it's just awful, awful, awful,
terrible.
Awful.
And then of course that ice cavern level where it's just aggravating platforming, where it's just you're going to the left to jump up just a little bit, then back to the right to jump up a little bit, and you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all the way up to the top. And of course the platforms are icy on top of it, so it's just
that level,
things on top of each other that are awful about video games.
That level can get fucked. That whole level can get fucked. It's just terrible. So like if you've never played it, so like Krusty announces that Bart won this trip, and then Burns is like, I don't even remember the name of his first fucking family member.
It's something kind of borderline racist because it's a Chinese version of Mr. Burns.
Yeah, they're very. It's funny. It's like I've been playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out lately, and there's a few stereotypes in that game that I'm like, I don't know if this flies in 2024. Like this was okay right then, but yeah. So you go to China, but then like it's not like, frankly, and this is why I think this game is so half-assed. A, because we realized they made it in 7 months, and B, because like you go to China and it's like, okay, well then let's just make it a giant level like Bart versus the Space Mutants, where it's a platforming level through China. And they're like, no, there's a very quick short level where you have to climb like a boat and find a map. And then the level where you skateboard the Great Wall of China. But then, and those 2 levels combined can be beaten in about 90 seconds. And then in addition to those, they just throw in like this potpourri of mini games, and most of them suck. Like most of them are just, and that's what all 4 levels are. They're just a collection of these weird little crappy mini games with a couple of awful platforming levels, and then a boss fight, and then that's it.
Yeah, because I watched a playthrough of somebody doing this, and like it allowed me to step back from the game and like, man, this is terrible, because the mini games are those sliding puzzle games where it's like there's 16 squares of a picture, and they're all jumbled up, and you have to like, there's one empty spot where you choose which one to slide in there and to eventually make the picture. And that's not really a puzzle, you know what I mean? Like, that's not really entertaining or fun. And they do it like, what, 2 or 3 times over the course of that game is that same sliding puzzle to get Bart going, don't have a cow or whatever.
Yeah, it's a different image, but it's the same 15-piece puzzle. And it's and then to top it off, oh God, when you're playing it, it plays this like carnival music for 6 seconds and then loops and loops and loops and loops and loops and loops and loops. And you're just trying to solve this stupid puzzle. And then to top it all off, you don't even have to solve the puzzle. It's optional. And if you do it,
it's
you get
all
crusty
optional.
heads. Yeah, the crusty heads you cash in for extra lives at the end. But there's no time limit. There's no way to die.
Yeah.
You just sit there and stare at this crappy, horribly, horribly drawn puzzle.
Yeah.
For like, it looks like this thing was drawn in Microsoft Paint in like 3 minutes. Terrible.
Well, and you pointed out one thing with like the looping music. The music, I don't think any part of the game has a loop longer than 8 seconds. And here's the thing, you better love that Simpsons theme, buddy, because you're getting it like 5 different ways, but it is the theme. And it is just going to keep playing the whole time. Even when you get like the Jebediah Springfield head and you get to be like invincible for like a little bit of time, it is just the Simpsons theme again. Actually, just a little bit faster. That's all it is. It's aggravating. It is.
Everything about this game just feels half-assed. Like everything. It looks like crap. It controls like crap. The story is stupid. The music sucks. The levels are like 3 seconds long. So when you get into a world, like you have this like scroll and you can, and all you have to do is, so like in the first world when you're in China, you have to play the level where you're on the boat. And then one redeeming thing that I do think is kind of cool in this game is when you get into these worlds, like the actual platforming levels, is sometimes you can find a member of the Simpson family, and if you find them, they'll usually hook you up with the treasure that's worth a bunch of bonus points at the end, which are worth more lives.
Yeah.
And like, that's the one highlight of these levels is like, on that boat, you can find Maggie on a little boat off to the side. And if you jump down, she gives you like a gold statue. And Lisa is just standing on the back of the Great Wall of China, which seems horribly unsafe. But if you jump up and touch her, then you get a statue later on. So like, that's kind of neat. But that's all you have to do to beat the China level is you have to play through this boat where you have to find a map, and then the map opens up the Great Wall of China level, and then when you beat that, then you open up a boss fight, which is Burns's uncle or whatever the fuck. And we'll get to the boss fights. We'll get there in a fucking minute. but that's all you have to do to beat the level. And then there's 2 or 3 mixed little mini games that you can play to earn extra points. But they're optional. The speed run I watched of this, and it wasn't even like that. The guy was good, but he wasn't that good. He beat the game in under 10 minutes.
Yeah,
like
if you just wanted to hammer it through, because that's the whole thing. Once you get good at a game, like Super Mario games are classic for that, where it's like the idea that you're just trying to pursue as many free lives as possible is silly because you don't die that easy. So why focus on it? And meanwhile, the whole purpose of doing these side quests is just to get more lives. Well, theoretically, you don't need that many lives because this game is not the toughest, aside from like weird sections of it that get stupidly hard, and then it's back to weirdly easy.
The controls and the collision detection of the platforms are what make it hard. Bart versus Space Mutants was the same way, but that's what makes it hard. I'll ask you this. So, because I want to talk about the rest of these stupid mini games too, but the mini games are optional and you just play through them if you want to. You can't die on them. You can lose at them over and over and over again if you want. It doesn't hurt you. They're just optional, and if you beat them, then you get crusty heads that you cash in for more points to get you extra lives at the end of the level. I'll ask you this. Would you prefer that they are optional, because that way they're very boring and you don't have to play them? Or is making them optional make the game seem even more half-assed than it already is? Because literally like 60% of the game's content doesn't even have to be played. Like, what is, and I'm honestly not sure, like, what is worse?
They should have just made a different game. Like, I don't know, like they should have,
What's
Somebody
worse, A or B? They should have just not
just
made
not
it.
done it.
That's the answer.
They should have just stopped it, pulled the plug.
Wow. I mean,
It
you're not wrong,
was-
but that's a good answer. You're like, well, the game just sucks is the problem.
The funny thing is, this game also ages poorly, and I'm not talking like, oh, games are better now. I'm just talking about like even the Simpsons aspect of it doesn't age well, because there's like some of the mini games are some trivia questions, but the
Yes.
trivia question is obscure stuff from like season 1, like what like the weakest episodes of the Simpsons, and like what's the mascot's name of the Springfield Isotopes or whatever. And it's like,
yeah.
they give you options, but it's like, this is not like a fun bit of trivia. This is just, oh, can I remember this obscure detail? You know?
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I will also say, and I say this with all sincerity, the trivia portion is my favorite part of the game. And I'm not saying it's
you're
good,
right. It is,
but
yes.
it is the most enjoyable part of the game, is this quick little Simpsons Jeopardy that you get to play.
Because
And they are obscure questions, like they're awful, but
yeah. And it connects back to the show itself, like why you are here is because of the Simpsons, right?
But is it not fucked up that arguably the best part of this platforming game is a trivia thing that probably like
a multiple choice trivia thing?
And I don't know anything about designing video games, but this is just a blue splash screen with text on it. And then you have 3 options and you pick the right answer. I have to imagine that genuinely took a developer about 2 days tops to make. Probably
like
less. Yeah. So like why? And that's the best part. Like when I'm playing it, because there's 3 mini games and then the platforming. And when I see the trivia, I'm like, well, at least that'll be fun for 8 seconds. I get to answer 3 Simpsons questions. But you're right. It's like that. They're very obscure, which like you need to be a diehard fan to know. Like some of them you don't. Like what did Bart do to the statue of Jebediah Springfield? It's like, well, he cut the head off. Like everybody knows that. But yeah, you're right. Like there are other ones where I'm like, man, you need to be a Simpsons fan to know this. And I just came to this conclusion. I think you need to be a pretty big Simpsons fan to play this fucking game in the first place.
To get past the first level of like not just throwing the game away. Yeah.
There's no other reason to play this fucking game unless you're a diehard Simpsons fan.
One of the games is a slot machine.
Oh. And
why is that level? Why is a level a slot? Like they did that in Super Mario 2, but at least it was like an interstitial between levels. It was not a level in and of itself.
No, and it's not even like, listen, everyone, I guarantee you, I'd be willing to bet money, everyone listening to this podcast, okay, we'll say 99% of people listening to this podcast have done the slot machine in Super Mario Brothers 3 where you have to make the mushroom, the flower, or the star, and they've missed it a lot because it's hard. It's hard. This slot machine is just random. I can hear Mo being like, yeah, go ahead, play the slot. There's like 4 or 5 random characters, and it spins slow, and it's super easy to stop. And then again, all that happens is if you get it right, you get 2 more crusty heads to carry different points at the end. And I'm like, what the hell kind of half-assed? Do you remember when Homer got the trampoline and then he wanted to design his own amusement park? And it was just the crappiest. That's what this game is. They're like slot machine land, and you just stop it on 3 mows and get 2 heads, and it's like, oh, good, I won.
I feel like I accomplished something somehow.
Awful. So I'm trying to think, because in the first world, you do. You know what, David? You know what? I don't know how much legs this game has, and I'm contractually obligated to make sure that at least one of my sponsor reads are before the last like 20% of the episode. So let's stop here. Let's let a sponsor come in. I need a minute to collect myself. Then we'll run down the rest of the crappy mini games. We'll crap on the platforming, and we'll both go on to bigger, better things in our lives.
Sure.
My God, we'll be. What does Krusty say? Sorry about this, kids, but stay tuned. We got some real good toy commercials coming up. I swear. This is the toy commercials. We'll be right back. My God. All right. Where were we? We were talking about the mini game. So the slot machine sucks. The sliding puzzle sucks. The trivia is okay for what it is. Dude, the card matching.
Yeah.
Now, did you play this a lot in preparation for this, or did you just watch a Let's Play, which is fine?
I just played the Let's Play, and then it was coming back like these horrible memories of like, no, this game abused me. I realized this is terrible.
I might have talked to a therapist after this.
I need to go through some childhood stuff right now. Yeah,
buddy, the card matching, like, that should always be at least kind of fun. Like a selection of 20 cards and there's 10 pairs in there and you have to find the pairs. Like I know it's childish, but that should always be at least. They even found a way to fuck that up because you have 8 pairs. There's 16 cards, 8 pairs of Simpsons characters. You get 5 misses. So I was playing it on stream and it took me 4 guesses to find a pair. And then I found, because I just kept getting random characters. Then I drew another random character, didn't know where his pay was. Then it ended and I had to start all over again. And I was like, how? Like, it's not, does that make sense? You don't even get enough misses to find all the cards.
I don't know. You might just be bad at that.
I might be, but no. If you get 5 misses and there's 8 characters, so it's like, okay, I flip. I get Mo, Grandpa. Then I get Monroe, Bob. Then I get Millhouse, Blinky. Then I get Flanders, and I don't remember who else is in it.
Right.
But
they're all lame characters. That was the other thing.
Well, Mo is awesome, but you're right. It's a lot of lame characters. But I'm like, I just burned 4 of my guesses and still haven't even found all of the characters.
That is fair.
To even start making pairs. I've just got 8 random people that I don't know where their partners are. Garbage.
Yeah, they gave you just enough guesses or like errors so that you can like reveal at least everybody. And so like on that. What is it? That 9th pull. It's like, well, technically, you saw that person somewhere. You better remember where they are because you've got one. Yeah.
And again, no lives, no time limit. And if you lose, just try again. And then when you finally win, it's like, haha, here's 3 more Krusty heads. This game feels like it's endorsed by Krusty the Clown. Like all of the crap that he makes. This game is endorsed by, and what's ironic is that Krusty's Funhouse, it stars Krusty, and it's an exponentially better game than this. But this feels like it was designed by Krusty the Clown. And there's no
he rubber
fun.
Stamped it and just went on with his life. Yeah, just give me the check. Yeah.
Oh, and then what is there? Oh my God! In the snow level, and we haven't even gotten into the platformer levels. We'll get there. In the snow level, there's that igloo game, and all it is the 3 igloos, and one has a Krusty head on it, and they get mixed up, and then you have to pick which one has the Krusty head.
The old 3-card Monty game. Yeah.
Things that are nothing but throwaway bonus, like, hey, try to win a couple extra lives or some points. I know that's what they are in this game, but the difference between this game and any other game that does this is in other games, it's like 90% good content, and then there's these stupid little mini games if you want to play them. This game, the mini games are like 60, 70% of the content.
If you did not play them, like those sliding puzzle games take up a weirdly a large amount of your time of playing that game. If you were to do them all,
they stretch the game. I guarantee you, if you were to do a completionist run of this game, unless you're like a guru at those sliding puzzles, you'll spend over 50% of your gameplay on those sliding puzzles. Like, like, oh my God, just embarrassing.
That Hollywood world though, where it's aggravating because that feels the most hodgepodgey of them all, right? Where there's not even a consistent theme because like there's pirate levels, but then there's also like a Transylvania level and also like, the weird running across the animator's table level. Like it's just got no theme in and of itself aside from just like fever dream. That's all nothing even consistent.
I assume that like when they were like, I don't know how people make video games, but I'm always going to imagine that they have just like the big whiteboard and they're just putting all their ideas on it, and they're like, all right, so what about this if this leads into here? And what if this does this? I imagine when they came up with the idea for the Hollywood level on paper, it was probably like, well, you go from like movie set to movie set to movie set. And that way we can have a lot of fun with these crazy ideas. But then it was like in execution, it was like, that's not what this comes across as at all. This just seems like crap. Like it just feels like you just made up random shit. And it's just fuck me. And that's the final level. That's the lasting memory. I mean, you know what though? That's probably not the lasting memory of most kids, because most kids probably didn't make it that far because this game's too fucking broken and hard. But if you did, that's the lasting memory of it.
You know what this game reminds me of? It feels like a dollar store version of DuckTales.
Yes. 100%.
Because DuckTales does the same thing. It's like you're going around the world trying to find treasures from all over, but it was just solid platforming all the way through. And this one, like, oh, we'll make a Transylvania level. Ah, man, we don't have enough to do that. We'll just throw it into this like grab bag Hollywood level. You know what I mean? Because
this, yes, I do. Yeah, this game is Worker and Parasite. Like it is like
I was going to use that in my reference at the end of like if I'm going to rate this as a Simpsons episode.
But that's what it is. It is. It's Worker and Parasite.
What the hell was that?
What the hell was that? It's totally what it is. Oh my god! Great minds, great minds. You know, you've made a special video game when not one but both hosts of the show thought your game compared to Worker and Parasite. Like you nailed it when. My God. My God. And that's not even like, we haven't really even gotten into it yet. And I will say, as much as I don't even know if I defend Bart versus the Space Mutants as I do just say I like it, even though I know it sucks. But one thing this game carries over is like, it's the exact same engine, exact same controls, exact same graphics. And unfortunately, that means it controls like a shopping cart. Like trying to, the jumps in this game, awful. Because if you just tap the jump button, Bart basically almost goes straight up and down. Like you need to be running and jumping, which anyone that's played
there's no momentum. Like,
no. And anyone that's played a video game like this knows, like it's you and I. I'm positive you and I have had this conversation on the show before. It is genuinely infuriating to watch somebody play Mario and not hold run. Like it is blood boiling. But in this game, you literally don't have a choice. And then they made run and jump the same button. So you hold A, and then to make a big jump, you mash B and A to do this super jump. But when you do the super jump, when you land, you slide a good half inch on the screen. And there's so many instances where you're doing this precise platforming over pits. And so you jump, you land, you slide, and then you fall down. It happens over and over and over again. And you can get good at it. Like you can figure it out and master it. But it's like, dude, you're on the fucking box that Mario is platforming. You're on the box that Mario built, and you couldn't figure out how to make a jump work.
Yeah.
Awful.
And that's supposed to be the core of your game.
Yes.
And then I wonder if somebody got just frustrated and was like, oh man, we are really struggling at this. Quickly, let's get some photos together and cut them up into a sliding puzzle real quick.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. Yeah. It just, everything about it just feels half-assed. And then the levels themselves, like it's not just the controls and making him jump, but it's the number of levels that are built around jumping. And the first level's not too bad because you're on that boat. There's not really any holes to fall in unless you fall off the sides of the boat. And then you're skateboarding down the Great Wall of China.
I mean, the problem with that first level though is that it's bare. It's barren level. There's nothing in it.
It's empty. No, it's dead. Yeah, there is nothing.
You can climb up the mast of the ship and everything like that, and there's nothing up there aside from maybe a power up or whatever. But it's not like exciting. It's not like quick. It's like you're jumping all these levels up to get like one thing. There's not like a bunch of guys that make it interesting. It is just this wasteland that you're wandering through.
There's like 4 or 5 like, I don't know if they're pirates or what they're called, but there's like 4 or 5 like crew members that are like running around doing nothing. They'll kind of like run at you if they see you. But like honestly, the most exciting thing that can happen when you're climbing that boat is when you get up near the top of the masts, every once in a while, a bird will fly across the screen. Yeah. And I think if the bird touches you, it hits you, but it's very easy to dodge. So I've never been touched by one. But I'm like, it's sad that you're like, oh, a bird. And then it's like, oh, there goes it. And you're like, well, maybe there'll be another one. I'll wait. Like and what's fucked up is that's one of the better levels in the game. Because at least it doesn't kill you for being cheap garbage. Yeah. It's just fucking stupid. You just climb the ship and it's done. And then we
Yeah,
talked about the skateboarding. The skateboarding just
skateboarding is
sucks.
bad. Well,
Yeah.
it's got the same. It's somehow worse than the Battletoads. What is it? Sea-Doo level.
Oh, the speed bikes. Yeah, yeah.
Speed bikes, where it's just like this seems impossible or whatever, and this is somehow worse and more difficult than that because there's like the doors that you're having to go through. And it comes so fast, like they give you no warning that the door is coming. It's just suddenly there. You just have to have anticipated it on your own, just by playing the level again.
Yeah. And it's funny because you can slow them down on a skateboard to like a crawl if you want to. But then the problem is you keep hitting these giant pits you need to jump over. And if you're not moving, you're not getting over that fucking pit. So it's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then you fight the Chinese Mr. Burns, who's got one of those fans. Those I don't know what those are called. They're like half circle folding fans. And I don't know. He's like throwing sparks at you. And all you have to do is whip these, like, I don't know what they are, like bean bags at him, but you have to hit him while his fan is closed. But it's like random when it's fucking garbage. It's terrible. And then when you beat the level, go ahead. No.
I was just going to skip over to the boss at in the ice world, which is just, I guess, the abominable Mr. Burns, who's just this snow creature that pops out of the ice like a whack-a-mole type of a scenario.
Yeah. And like he doesn't even like when you first get to him, he throws a couple of I don't know what they are. I assume they're like, like jagged ice chunks at you. And you just wait off to the side because there's 3 holes in the middle of the ground. You just wait off to the side till he throws his ice chunks. And then he just starts popping up in a hole, and all you do is stand in the middle, and wherever he pops up, just jump on his head. But even then, it does the thing that Bart versus Space Mutants does. He expects you to jump on their heads like you would in any fucking platforming video game. But when you land on their heads, it's just like, which way is Bart going to bounce? And how far is he going to bounce? I don't know. And you never know where he's going to go. And you never know where he's going to. So you're adjusting on the fly to make sure you don't fall into. Choking on my own face. It's so fucking bad. God. Damn it all. It's terrible. That second level, the ice
world. Yeah. I remember that was the one that always got me. It took, the most of my rental time to try to beat that one ice cave level.
Me too. The one where all the ice is green and you need to climb up all those ledges.
Yeah, because there's bottomless pits everywhere.
What a half-assed fucking level, David. There are Mario Maker levels that are masterpieces compared to that fucking. All you do is like you have 10 seconds where you have to dodge like icicles to jump over a couple of pits, and then it is just platform after platform after platform, and you can't make the jump from one to the other without doing that stupid super jump. But when you do the super jump, you slide, and so if you don't nail it perfectly, you slide off the back, fall down 4 or 5 platforms. If you're lucky, eventually there's a bottomless pit there. And all you do is just climb and climb and climb. And it's so boring. There's no enemies. There's nothing around. You just climb.
It is just try to master this one particular skill of jumping back and forth. Not in an exciting way, not in like a flashy. It's just a stale, blank background.
Genuinely terrible. It's I would swear that they put those platforms in once and then like copied and pasted them like 50 times and we're like there. And that's it.
Because it is the same jump. It is the same jump back and forth all the way up. Like there's no variation.
The only highlight to that level is you eventually see Marge, who is wearing a red dress, and it burns my ass.
Yeah. God. How could you mess that up? They only wear one color.
She has
in the
one
whole
outfit.
Show. Yeah.
Like. My God. So like and then all you use her to like get a statue that gets you some bonus points. But like that's it. And then you just climb and climb and climb until you find the right way out. And then when you do find the right way out, then you have to platform across these blocks of ice and these stupid bubbles. And then if you get past those, you beat that level. Then you go to the second half of the stage, which is just riding those broken chunks of ice across those long pools of water. And you just have to jump. There's no enemies. You just jump.
It's just, it's one sequence of like, jump to make the thing move, jump and you makes it move. Yeah.
And it's hard because and that's one of the problems with this game is the I don't know. It's not I don't think it's collision detection per se, but if you have a platform, if you have a ledge, if you have an enemy's head, if you have something in that game that's say 1.5 inches wide on the screen, there's a 1/2 inch on either side where you'll go right through it. You need to land right on top.
It is unknowable. It is unknowable where the edge is.
No clue. No. Awful. Dude, when I was streaming it, the number of times I jumped to try to make the ice cube I was riding on move, and then I'd fall right through the side of it because I guess I missed the fucking middle or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was getting so... Did they do anything right? It doesn't control well. The collision detection is fucked. The grab... Listen, the NES is not known for its world-class graphics, but by 1991, people were making some decent-looking NES games.
Yes.
This is not one of them.
Yeah, no, this is pretty rough. The music is, once again, it's repetitive so often. Graphics are good. Platforming's amongst the worst. The mini games are not fun. There's not one that stands out. I can't wait to play that one again.
Yeah. It's agreed. Can I just say, I just looked it up. Mega Man 3 came out 1 year before this game.
Yeah.
Mega Man 3 is inarguably one of the best games on the system. It is a showcase for what the NES can do. And it came out 1 year before Bart versus the World. It is an embarrassment.
There's a reason why. There's a reason why Capcom is still around and not Acclaim. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. And that's, you know what, David? And that's, as we kind of start bringing this thing home, what really infuriates me about this is that, and the Simpsons are far from the only franchise that did this back in this era. But so many games, they would go out and get a popular IP and then just put the biggest pile of crap out and then slap the Simpsons, the Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, some awful things on it. And it's so aggravating when you look and see a game like DuckTales or a Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. There are some great licensed games. Batman. There are some great licensed games on the NES. Yeah. And then there's games like this where all they did was go out and get the hottest, what does Homer say to Moe in the Flaming Moe episode? He's like, if there was any justice, my face would be on a whole bunch of crappy merchandise. And that's perfect. It was just get them on everything. And buddy, it's just, I'm playing it today and I'm not aggravated that it sucks. There's lots of bad NES games. But I'm that you took an IP as popular as The Simpsons at an era where every kid that was in the right age bracket was foaming at the mouth to get their hands on the NES and any game they could get for the NES. And then you just made the crap, a little bit of effort. Yeah. A little bit. Terrible. Fucking terrible video game.
I am so glad I did not buy this game as a kid. I'm glad I got to rent it and just cranked it out, got rid of it, and then I never wanted to play it again until I saw that I had to come on this podcast and be reminded that was actually a bad memory from my childhood, actually.
God, buddy, I rented this game so much, and this feels like the type of game that my dad would have watched me play as a kid and been like, these are stupid and a waste of your time. Go outside. And it's hard for me to argue. It's the strongest
argument. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm I don't know. He's kind of got a point with this one. This is pretty bad. It's just, I honestly don't know if I can think of a redeeming, the only maybe redeeming quality in this game is that the story, while stupid, is entertaining in a stupid way.
There's a couple of good, it's a fun premise or whatever. Yeah. It's kind of it is silly and there's a couple of jokes in there. It's not consistent enough. It's not often enough to really do much with it. It even kind of ends anticlimactically. It just ends when you beat the Hollywood level. That's it. There's not, you don't even fight Mr. Burns. No. All you do, the ending to that game is you beat the last thing and then well, congratulations. Well, here's your reward. You get to throw pies at Mr. Smithers and Mr. Burns. And that's all. That's all it does until you decide, well, That's all for me. Thank you.
Awful.
And then you turn off the machine. Yeah.
And what's frustrating too, and I just thought of this sitting here, is like the platforming is really, really bad. But even if they cleaned up the platforming and made the platforming good, it
Like
still wouldn't be a good game. The levels are still so bare bones and so half-assed. You know, like it's just, I don't know. I'm not. I look. I loved it I know some of you were like. I know some of you. I had someone come by my chat on my Twitch stream and say this was their Bart versus the Space Mutants. Like this was their game they played all the time as a kid. I get it. We all have those games.
Yeah.
Right. Do you? I don't know if I've ever asked you. Do you have like a crappy NES game that you played all the time as a kid and liked anyways, even though you knew in your heart that it sucked? I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
It's hard to say. I feel like when there is a game with NES, it's about difficult games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you are able to, some games are overly punishing and really difficult, and they don't need to be that hard. But if you stuck it out and like figured out the gimmick, then you feel pretty good about it. And you know what my answer is? It's the one I keep bugging you about. It's Bionic Commando. Where it's like it's super hard.
Yeah.
It's a tricky game, and like it's got a weird hard mechanic to it. But once you figure it out, then I'm like, I can't get enough of that game. I really like playing that. But I don't know if it's a great game that holds up now. I would just play it because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this, but I would not. I can tell you right now, I would not recommend that game to somebody.
I get it. Listen, I am a simp for the NES. Like I adore the NES. I love me some classic tough. There's a reason like NES tough has become a term in gaming, right? Like I love old tough. I've been playing Battletoads lately, and I love it. I know it's fucking break your heart tough, but I love it. I love those tough games. But I like the good tough games. You know, games like this, I'm playing it, and I'm just like, I can't get
this
the
is
jump
tough
like
by
I want.
accident. This is tough by accident. This is not like, oh wow, they're really trying to push the players to like do a thing. No, it's you just made the sprites bad and movement bad and timing bad. You know.
I know we've drawn a lot of dumb comparisons to Simpsons and with Simpsons quotes and stuff, but you know what I just thought of? You remember the classic episode, the one where Herb hires Homer to design a car for all the Homer Simpsons out there? This is like, if Herb had owned a claim, he would have been like, Homer, I want you to design a game for all the Homer Simpsons out there. And that's what this is. It's just, and you know what? If they had put a scene at the very end of the game where Homer had designed it, it would have redeemed the whole thing. But in their minds, there's it's good.
Well, there's a shell game in there that I think is pretty sharp. You know.
Yeah. Oh my god, what a garbage pile of crap. I'm done. Do you have anything else you want to say about this? Like, I've had enough.
Yeah, my whole conclusion is just like how disappointing it is to look back. I wish I didn't remember this game. I wish I didn't have to analyze it. It was fine in my memory, and it is bleak.
Now, on that note, though, and I've said this before about Bart versus the Space Mutants, I would love to see these games remade today, like by people that like actually want to make a good game.
Yeah,
like
take the core of the ideas and like flesh them out.
You could make something out of this. You know, like put some voice acting and stuff. Dude, we were talking about it on stream today. Like we haven't gotten a new, other than the mobile games, like we haven't got a new Simpsons game in a long time. I don't think since the Simpsons
7 years.
Game.
Yeah,
and
which was okay from what I remember.
Yeah, it was okay.
I played it only like a little bit.
Yeah, like, it was okay.
The problem with remaking Bart versus the World is they already did make the perfect version of this game, and it was called DuckTales. It is the same. Shit. Like you would just be remaking DuckTales at that point. I feel.
So I'll ask you this: would you, if they made a new Simpsons game today?
Yeah.
Not knowing if it's going to be good or bad, but if let's just say they came out today and announced like, "Hey, Studio XYZ is making a brand new game based on The Simpsons," Are you intrigued? Because I have to say, as someone that has played practically every Simpsons game that was made, or most of them, and is still a fan of the glory years, like, it would get my attention. I'm not saying it'd be good necessarily, but it would. If they announce tomorrow there's a new Simpsons game coming out this holiday season, I'm almost certainly playing that. I can't help it. I'm a sucker for it.
I think there would need to be some sort of sign that the creators and writers were involved in it somehow. I'm thinking specifically of the South Park games, because like notoriously
which are the gold
South
standard.
Yeah, because like South Park on the 64, they were not involved at all. It was garbage. They hated it, and they're like, okay, if we're going to do a video game, we're going to do it right. And they were heavily involved. And I think that last Simpsons game they put out, there was more involvement by like the writers and stuff like that. But I don't know. I would be reluctant. I feel the Simpsons have betrayed our trust far too many times.
They have burned us a lot. Yeah.
I would like to see, if they're going to remake a Simpsons game, I would want them to remake the arcade game, frankly.
Yeah.
Or
I think that'd be
Space
cool.
Mutants might be one that's a potential, because that was a unique kind of puzzle solving type of a thing that they had.
If you like, if every level in that game was as good as the first one, and then you put in like voice acting and added Kang and Kodos and stuff, like there's potential there.
There's potential. The reason why I did not like Space Mutants is because I could not beat the first level, because you had to spray so many aliens.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out the one where you had to put the coin into the payphone to make Mo come out so you can spray him. I never figured it out. And I just like, this game sucks. I can't.
I get it. Yeah. I get it. It does suck. I don't even defend it. I'm like, I know it's terrible, but I like, it's like,
that's why I like this one better, because I could beat it. I
get it. I get it. You know what I've always said? You know what I think would make a good Simpsons game is a kart racer. If we got a good Simpsons kart racer, I think that'd be a good time. Have the race at like different tracks around Springfield, put in the characters with the voice acting. Yeah. That could be a good time. Like, that would be fun. But probably we won't get it. We'll get another one of these. Fuck this fucking game. I didn't realize, buddy, if you had asked me 72 hours ago if Bart versus the World was good, I'd be like, it's not good, but it's okay. But now I'm like, no, this is just genuinely a garbage game. It sucks.
Irrevocably terrible. And that was the thing. I thought it was like, no, it was fine. That was my thought when I was in memory of it. I was like, no, it was fine. It wasn't great, but it was like, it was, a lot of Nintendo games were just fine. Yeah. And no, this is not the case anymore. This is just regular insulting garbage.
How do we score this piece of crap? You have any ideas?
Oh God.
I mean, it was okay, like, it's a dumb scale, but like, I would give this, in all sincerity, if I was scoring this out of 10, I would give this game 3 out of 10.
Sure.
So let's score it out of 3. Out of the 3 points, and you can go decimals if you want, but out of the decimal points that I would give it, what would you give Bart versus the World out of 3?
It's got to be like a -1. You're like, it's bad. It's like, there's no good part to it.
That's a first here on the show, I think. A negative score.
So,
I don't.
It's so insulting. The whole game is insulting, man. It is.
I get it. I was going to give it a 1. I was going to give it a 1, but a -1. Wow.
It's because it does. It really lands into the crusty seal of approval level of like, this is such a money grab.
Oh yeah,
it's insulting. And yeah.
I'm actually genuinely surprised that the cartridge doesn't just get hot while you're playing it, and then it like would burn. Like, everything else about it sucks, and then it's like, oh right, we should have told you that cartridge gets incredibly hot if you leave it turned on. Oh, that's all right. Oh, this is fine. Like, it's just garbage. All right, so you're giving it -1, and I'm giving it
a worker and Parasite.
A worker and Parasite.
A worker and Parasite out of 3. That's what.
Phenomenal. So that means the average score from this show for Bart versus the World is a 0 out of 3.
There we go.
Bottom 10 games I think we've ever covered. I'm sorry. Listen, I want to make sure I make this clear. For those of you that grew up loving this game, I did too. All right, David did too. We played it growing up. I get it. This is one of those ones I am begging you, leave it in your memory banks. Don't play it. Play something else. It will hurt your heart. Don't play it.
Yes.
Garbage. David, when you're not talking about, I don't feel like you and I have ever covered a really crappy. You've done like all the NES Mario's. Like, you've covered some good games. So it's about time
it's
you
all
got
the
it done.
classics. Yeah, I
you
needed
deserve
a dud.
Now that you got that out of your system, if people want to listen to something good, where can they go?
Well, I suggest the podcast I've been a part of for the last few years, which is called Quantum Kickflip. It is an actual play podcast of the game Slug Blaster. It's about teens going into other dimensions, getting into shenanigans. And there's some it's very silly, but also some really nice heartwarming stuff in there too. So I do recommend that. Quantum Kickflip, you can find it on wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find us on social media and all that kind of thing.
I like it.
We just finished up season 2, so you can. They're 2 separate stories. Season 1 is different than season 2, different characters and all that kind of thing, 2 different vibes, and it's a good time.
That's awesome. Yeah, check them out, everybody. Get in there, 2 seasons so you can binge it. I like it. Like when I discover a new podcast and it's like a continuation, like a continuous story.
Yeah,
I love just binging. Like that's what I'm talking about. So that's awesome. And I will also say, single best name of any podcast I've ever heard. I just enjoy saying Quantum.
Quantum. Yeah.
Like, well, it's got a lot of. It's awesome.
That comes right from the game Slug Blaster, where it was like that was a phrase from the initial, packaging or whatever, and we're just like, we'll just use that. That's a great. Mikey Maybe, who made the original game, he's an Edmonton guy, and he's so creative. He made such a wonderful, wild world to explore, and it's been so fun to be able to play it.
Hell yeah. Listen, buddy, it's been a little while. I miss talking to you. I love talking NES with people like me that grew up in the NES because we're old.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Great chatting with you, and I make this vow to you, David. When next you bless our ears with your voice, we will talk about something not as bad. I can't promise good, but maybe you know what? I am also interested in this Bionic Commando game. So maybe let's put that out into the ecosystem, and maybe sometime this summer we'll finally cross the Bionic Commando ecosystem or bridge.
Yeah,
let's
finally get that.
I'm interested. Yeah. So, great talking to you as always, buddy. Appreciate it.
Always. Thank you.
That is going to do it for this week's episode. David, thank you so much for giving me a holler and talking Bart versus the world. I'm glad this one's off our plate. Honestly, one of the first times in this show's history that a game was like exponentially worse than I remember it as a kid. That might be the lowest score we've ever given a game on this show. It's got to be up there. Fuck me. God, it's bad. If you want something good, check out David's podcast, Quantum Kickflip. You can find all the links in the description of this podcast. And thank you. Thank you all so much for listening to the show. Whether this was your first Remember the Game or maybe your 298th, we appreciate you. If you like Simpsons reviews, there's a ton of them in our archives. I know we've reviewed Bart versus the Space Mutants. We've done Bart's Nightmare. We've done Virtual Bart. We've done The Simpsons Hit and Run. There's a lot of Simpsons reviews in our archives. I love The Simpsons. And if you can't get enough Simpsons talk, I really strongly recommend checking out our Patreon, because every Monday, Mark McHugh and I post Purple Monkey Dishwasher over there where we review an episode of The Simpsons. And we're well into season 3 now. We're into the glory years. There's over 50 episodes over there. There's also well over 200 episodes of Expansion Pass, 180-some game patches, and about 160-some rambling idiots, all waiting for you. Patreon.com/RememberTheGame. Subscriptions start at $3 a month. You help us keep the bills on. You get more shows. I have more money to buy drugs. It's win-win, or food, or whatever the fuck I feel like buying. Also, I'm over on Twitch. Find us over there. Find me over there, not us. It's just me. Find me over there whenever you feel like it. Twitch.tv/RememberTheGame. And leave us a nice review, would you? If you liked the show. I don't know what they accomplished, but I'm supposed to be asking for them. And we've got some nice reviews lately. And they make me feel good. I think that's it. I will be at GameCon Canada here in Edmonton, June 14th to 16th. If you're going to be there, swing by and say hi. And I recommend going. It looks awesome. They have like a Smash tournament. Hopefully Nintendo doesn't come after them. It's going to be like tabletop games, video games, just all kinds of games. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. And if you're in Toronto, June 28th, Mark McHugh and I are telling jokes. And literally three tickets just opened up. You can find them at rememberthegamepodcast.com. Every ticket comes with a meet and greet. You can come say hi to us. It should be a good fucking time. All right, I'm going to thank some Patreons and get out of here. Thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate you. No Remember the Game next week because I'm skipping the first week of every month now to work on the backlog, but I'll make sure to roll out something for everybody to listen to. And when we do come back on June 12th, it'll be episode 299, and if the stars align, we're finally talking Twisted Metal Black, which I can't fucking wait. And then episode 300 after that, The Last of Us. Good fucking times. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you later. Cheers, so long. Goodbye. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I could not puke up all the content I churn out every week without all of your support. The following people are at the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/rememberthegame, and as such, I am contractually obligated to say their names as quickly as I can. So a huge thank you to Remember the Game Hall of Famer Slick motherfucking Rick, Makeshift Metal Magic Bunny, Joe Buck, Sharonic, J Nasty 15, The Keegs, James Clark, Dave McGee, Dan of Dissect That Film, Doug Dorn, Chris Fleury, Andrew Wright, Jordan, Confused But Still Here, Lil Bunny Fufu 89, Angry Ticks, Dave Thompson, No One Cares, Scott Brooks, Aaron Lawson, Nathan Tremblay, A-Town, Morgan, Zane Donovan, Ryan Kinchin, Mike Maloney, G9PSX, Mercury 869, Wolfgang, Darren, Andy Hudson, Doogie, Wolf Magic 21, Johnny from Virginia, Squints, Titan 420, Zonko 504, Jeff Bergeron, Daniel, Tunable Power, John Woodruff, Randy Barrage, Just a Fish, City Walk, Holmes, Zach Shepard, Frosty Feet 492, Triple Chucker 22, Elijah Burns, Madam Nutsich, DBXJ, Jameer Williams, Steve Delk, Standard Ass Brian, Mizuru, Juris Dr. Mario, Tyler, Phil Lencher, Joe the Sandman, Eric James, Jake Carter, Thomas Childs, Biddy, Laces Out Dam, Beaver Boy, Thomas Smith, Leroy Westrich, Rush's Dog Walker, Stud Still Smash, Brant Hewitt, Matt Babineau, Gabe, Dan Fusselman, Fuzzy99, Decoy Man, a dude named Adam, Why the Surgeon Who's Not a Surgeon Rowe, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Scary Terry, Archangel Otaku, Earl, Hagel Waffle, High Plains Drifter, Esteban Navarro, Kayach, Timothy, Oroku Saki's Gardner, Cody Richardson, General Fury, Them Boys on the Roof, I Cancel My Netflix to afford this shout out, Max Lagrum, James O. Francesco, John of the Adult Children Podcast, Drugs of Bad, okay, Sam Carpenter, Donnie the Dude, Walter, Nerdy Hybrid, The Fletchman, Sleeper Hit, Squeak Nuts, Isaiah, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Wimp 15, Christian Gabriel, Maverick Marty, Radioactive Man, Musty Beetle, Graham Kennedy, John M. Watkins, Timothy Sabrinsky, My Left Nut, Beef Dingleberry, Hitchy Poo, Burt Macklin, Quiet Place Queen, Cam Nelly 23, Christopher Bridge, Zamatos, Big the Cat, Tadpole, T-Bear 87, X Maverick X, Brandon DeZeba, Kia Pup, Monstrous the Boner, AB Killen Works for Me, Alexander Camps, Yes It's True, This Man Has No Dick, Tom Houlihan, Ted Explosion, Ryan Perry, Alex R, Lucas Valadez, Itchy Nutsuru, Mr. Papa Giorgio, Just Car Pranks, Rated Excellent, Darth Skywalter, Postman, Tazelhoff, Nick Creature, Youngster TK, Adam Martinet, The Big Deal, Kevin Monroe, Can't Destroy Her, Fantasy Final, Swish, Beers of War, Because 19, Marcus Mendoza, Lord Longrod Von Hugendom II, Roger Staubach, Spook Leader, Lucas Shaman, Frosty Bear, Max Sandin, Sour Goatface, Alex Ramos, Faded Sufferance, Benjamin Atkins, Carbon Fiber Zombie, Chris Hill, Profits, B Money, Tyler Bauer, Fallen Snow Kiku, Supreme Chozorizo, Would You Kindly, E-Man Trucker, Mark Sneed, Atrio Wormwood, Shoeboxers, Adam Blake still hasn't reviewed Mario Galaxy, Jay Callahan, Robbie Air, Guy Who Does Things, Saban, Brian Richmond, Blobby Rogers, Glue Scappin, Bula, Mad Zeus, Buy Me Bone Storm, Plow King, Cesar, Fill Up My Mouth With Farts, Liquor Like Luigi, Cody Thompson, Put It in H, Chaz Hammond, Elephant Calves, Ace McGuy, Mr. Jabroni, Big Daddy Randall, Ryan Whitcomb, Flinny123, AJ McKirgy, Lotus, Nothing Can Possibly Go Wrong, Toby OP, Scotty McGee, Alex McIntyre, Z Train 22, S, Eric Hopewell, Darbles, Son of a Diddley, David Schroeder, Theodore, Chicken Gizzards, Diablo Spartan, Justin Blair, Wilco, VOS Rager, Super Jess, Captain Steve N, Adam's former assistant, Shank the Rat-Faced Bastard, Devin Collins, Inhuman Sumo, Crystal Lake Management, Leo, Desiree, Super Cyan Sephiroth, Savage Boosh, and Robert Underdunk Terwilliger Jr., PhD. Thank you all. That's pretty good Ratchet shoutouts. I'm good with that. I'm going to tip my chair in celebration. Thank you so much, everybody. Talk to you on the next one. Cheers, so long, goodbye.